Ashi Yast, which has nothing to do with that part of the Bible where it says, no longer call me Baal, household lord, but call me Ashi, which in Aramea, as the language was called at that time, could be said to mean something like an entity that does things to things after it. But that's a whole different language system. So Ashe Vanguhi, or the good Ashe, is a feminine impersonation of piety, and she is, at the same time, the source of all good and riches that are connected with piety. She is described, therefore, as an entity of fortune and wealth, and is invoked in company with Parende, the entity of treasures. Now, if we were to say angel of this, angel of that, but when people talk about religions other than Christianity and Judaism, they try to act like everything must be a god. And some people are going to worship things as gods and goddesses, but doesn't mean that that's the only way to look at it in that system. She appears in the latter character as the first part of the Yasts, verses 1 through 14. She praises and loves Zarathustra, 15 through 21. She is worshipped by the Ha'asyanga, 26, Yima, 28, Thra-et-ta'ana, 33, Ha'ama, 37, Husrava, 41, Zarathustra, 45, and Vistaspa, 49. She rejects the offering of sterile people, old men, courtesans, and children, 53 through 61. Section 1 is... Okay, there's section 2 in there somewhere. Oh, section 1's just 1 through 3. We sacrifice to Ashe Vangohe, who is shining, high, tall-formed, well-worthy of sacrifice, with a loud-sounding chariot, strong, well-forgiving, healing, with fullness of intellect and powerful, too. The daughter of Ahura the sister of the Ameshaspentas, it's a linguistic way of speaking about that whole thing. It's not to be taken literal. Who endows all the Sa'ashants with the enlivening intelligence. She also brings heavenly wisdom at her wish, and comes to help him who invokes her from near, and from him who invokes her from afar, and worships her with offerings of libations. 3. For her brightness and glory I will offer her a sacrifice worth being heard. I will offer up unto Ashe Vangohe a good sacrifice, with an offering of libations. We sacrifice unto Ashe Vangohe with the libations, with the ha'ama and meat, with the berisma, with the wisdom of the tongue, with the holy spells, with the words, with the deeds, with the libations, and with the rightly spoken words. Yanhe Hatam, all those beings of whom Ahura Mazda, and so on. Part 2 is verse 4 to 22. 4. We sacrifice to Ashe Vangohe, who is shining, high, tall-formed, well-worthy of sacrifice, with a loud-sounding chariot, strong, well-forgiving, healing, with fullness of intellect, and powerful. 5. Homage unto Ha'ama, and unto Matra, and unto the holy Zarathustra. Homage unto Ha'ama, because all other drinks are attended with Ashma, the fiend of the wounded spear, but the drinking of Ha'ama is attended with Asha, and with Asha Vangohe herself. 6. Asha is fair, Asha is radiant with joy, she is far piercing with her rays. Asha gives good glory unto those men whom thou dost follow. O Asha, full of perfumes, is the house in which the good and powerful Asha Vangohe puts her feet for long friendship. 7. Those men whom thou dost attend, O Asha, are kings of kingdoms, that are rich in horses, with large tributes, with snorting horses, sounding chariots, flashing swords, rich in ailments, and in stores of food, well scented, where the beds are spread and full of all the other riches that may be wished for. Happy is the man whom thou dost attend. Do thou attend me, thou rich in all sorts of desirable things, and strong. 8. Those men whom thou dost attend, O Asha Mangohe, have houses that stand well laid up, rich in cattle, foremost in Asha, and long supported. Happy the man whom thou dost attend. Do thou attend me, thou rich in all sorts of desirable things, and strong. 9. The man whom thou dost attend, person, whatever, O Asha Angohe, have beds that stand well spread, well adorned, well made, provisioned with cushions, and with feet inlaid with gold. Happy the man whom thou dost attend. Do thou attend me, thou rich in all sorts of desirable things, and strong. 10. The men whom thou dost attend, O Asha Angohe, have their ladies that sit on their beds, waiting for them. They lie on the cushions, adorning themselves with square board earrings and a necklace of gold. When will our Lord come? When shall we enjoy in our bodies the joys of love? Happy the man whom thou dost attend. Do thou attend me, thou rich in all sorts of desirable things, and strong. 11. The men whom thou dost attend, O Asha Vangohe, have daughters that sit. Thin is their waist, beautiful is their body, long are their fingers. They are as fair of shape as those who look on can wish. Happy the man whom thou dost attend. Do thou attend me, thou rich in all sorts of desirable things, and strong. 12. The men whom thou dost attend, O Asha Vangohe, have horses, swift and loud neighing. They drive the chariot lightly. They take it to the battle. They bear a gallant praiser, who has many horses, a solid chariot, a sharp spear, a long spear, and swift arrows, who hits his aim, pursuing after his enemies, and smiting his foes. Happy the man whom thou dost attend. Do thou attend me, thou rich in all sorts of desirable things, and strong. 13. The men whom thou dost attend, O Asha Vangohe, have large, humped, burden-bearing camels. Flying from the ground, are fighting with holy fierceness, with holy furiness. Happy the man whom thou dost attend. Do thou attend me, thou rich in all sorts of desirable things and strong. 14. The men whom thou dost attend, O Asha Vangohe, have hoards of silver and gold, brought together from far distant regions, and garments of splendid make. Happy the man whom thou dost attend. Do thou attend me, thou rich in all sorts of desirable things and strong. 15. Do not turn thy look from me. Turn thy mercy towards me, O great Asha. Thou art well made, and of a noble seed. Thou art sovereign at thy wish. Thou art glory in bodily form. 16. Thy father is Ahura the greatest of all the spiritual entities, the best of all the spiritual entities. Thy mother is Armaete Spenta. Thy brothers are Asha, an entity of Asha and Rashnu, tall and strong, and Mithra, the lord of wide pastures, who has 10,000 spies, and 1,000 ears, thy sister, is the law of the worshippers of Mazda. See, it's all metaphorical language. It's not that these relationships here are literal in that sense. 17. Praised of the entities unoffended by the righteous, the great Asha Vengohe stood up on her chariot, thus speaking, Who art thou who dost invoke me? Whose voice is to my ear the sweetest of all that invoke me most? 18. And he said aloud, I am Spitama Zarathustra, who, first of mortals, recited the praise of the excellent Asha, and offered up sacrifice unto her Mazda, and the Amisha Spentas, in whose birth and growth the waters and the plants rejoiced, in whose birth and growth the waters and the plants grew, in whose birth and growth all the creatures of the good creation cried out, Hail! 19. And whose birth and growth Angra Mainyu rushed away from this wide round earth, whose ends lie afar, and he, the evil-doing Angra Mainyu, who is all death, said, All the angels together have not been able to smite me down in spite of myself, and Zarathustra alone can reach me in spite of myself. 20. He smites me with the Ahuna Va'eriga, as strong a weapon as a stone, big as a house. He burns me with Asha Bahista, as if it were melting brass. He makes it better for me that I should leave this earth. He, Spitama Zarathustra, the only one who can daunt me. 21. And the great Asha Vengohe exclaimed, Come nearer unto me, thou pure holy Spitama, lean against my chariot. Spitama Zarathustra came nearer unto her. He leant against her chariot. 22. And she caressed him with the left arm and the right, with the right arm and the left, thus speaking, Thou art beautiful, O Zarathustra. Thou art well shapen, O Spitama. Strong are thy legs, and long are thy arms. Glory is given to thy body, and long cheerfulness to thy soul, as sure as I proclaim it unto thee. 3 is verse 23 to 26. 23. We sacrifice to Asha Vengohe, who is shining, high, tall-formed, well worthy a sacrifice, with a loud-sounding chariot, strong, well-forgiving, healing, with fullness of intellect and powerful. 24. To her did Ha'ashanga, the Paradatta, offer up a sacrifice upon the enclosure of the Hara, the beautiful height, made by Mazda. 25. He begged of her a boon, saying, Grant me this, O great Asha Vengohe, that I may overcome all the Da'evas of Mahzana, that I may never fear and bow through terror before the Da'evas, but that all the Da'evas may fear and bow in spite of themselves before me, that they may fear and flee down to darkness. 26. The great Asha Vengohe ran and came to his side. Ha'ashanga, the Paradatta, obtained that boon. For her brightness and glory, I will offer her a sacrifice. 4 is 27 to 31. 27. We sacrificed to Asha Vengohe, who is shining, high, and powerful. 28. To her did Yima Ksha'ata, the good shepherd, offer up a sacrifice. From the height Uka'irya. 29. He begged of her a boon, saying, Grant me this, O great Asha Vengohe, that I may bring fatness and flocks down to the world created by Mazda, that I may bring immortality down to the world created by Mazda. 30. That I may take away both hunger and thirst from the world created by Mazda, that I may take away both old age and death from the world created by Mazda, that I may take away both hot wind and cold wind from the world created by Mazda for 1,000 years. 31. The right Asha Magohe ran and came to his side. Yema Kasha'eta, the good shepherd, obtained that boon. For her brightness and glory, I will offer her a sacrifice, and so on. 5 is verse 32 to 35. 32. We sacrifice to Acha Vengohe, who is shining high and powerful. 33. To her did Thra Ta'ana, the heir of the valiant Athwiya clan, offer up a sacrifice in the four-cornered Varena. 34. He begged of her a boon, saying, Grant me this, O great Asha Magohe, that I may overcome Azadahaka, the three-mouthed, the three-headed, the six-eyed, who has 1,000 senses, that most powerful, fiendish Drug, that demon baleful to the world, the strong Drug, that Angra Ma'inu created against the material world, to destroy the world of the good principle, and that I may deliver his 2 wives, Savangavak and Eranavak, who are the fairest of body amongst women, and the most wonderful creatures in the world. 35. The great Asha Vengohe ran and came to his side. Thra'e Ta'ana, the heir of the valiant Athwiya clan, and obtained that boon. For her brightness and glory, I will offer her a sacrifice, and so on. Part 6 is verse 36 to 39. 36. We sacrificed Asha Vengohe, who is shining high and powerful. 37. To her did Ha'ama offer up a sacrifice. Ha'ama, enlivening, the healing, the beautiful, the lordly, with golden eyes upon the highest height of the Hara Ite Baresa. 38. He begged of her a boon, saying, Grant me this, O great Asha Vengohe, that I may bind the Turanian murderer, Fran Gracian, that I may drag him bound, that I may bring him bound unto King Husrava, that King Husrava may kill him behind the Ekasta lake, the deep lake of salt waters, to avenge the murder of his father Syavarshana, a man, and of Agra Eratha, a semi-man. 39. The great Asha Vengohe ran and came to his side. Ha'ama, the enlivening, the healing, the beautiful, the lordly, with goldly eyes, obtained that boon. For her brightness and glory, I will offer her a sacrifice. King Rumbly and Tumbly. And depending on how the words go, a sacrifice could be taken part of, just like some of the, you're not treating the humans who eat the sacrificial food as gods, so, other entities that are joining in the process. 7 is verses 40 to 43. 40. We sacrifice to Asha Vengohe, who is shining high and powerful. 41. The herd of the gallant Husrava, he who united the Aryan nations into one kingdom, offer up a sacrifice behind the Ekasta lake, the deep lake, the salt waters. 42. He begged of her a boon, saying, Grant me this, O great Asha Vengohe, that I may kill the Turanian murderer, Fran Gracian, behind the Ekasta lake, the deep lake of salt waters, to avenge the murder of my father, Syavarshana, a man, and of Agra Ratha, a semi-man. 43. The great Asha Vengohe ran and came to his side, the gallant Husrava, he who united the Aryan nations into one kingdom, obtained that boon. For her brightness and glory, I will offer her a sacrifice worth being heard. 8 is 44 to 47. 44. We sacrifice to which, as I'm saying, it could be towards, upon, Asha Bangohe, who is shining high and powerful. 45. To her did the holy Zarathustra offer up a sacrifice in the Iryana Ba'aga, the noble land. By the good river Da'etya, with the Ha'ama and meat, with the Barisma, with the wisdom of the tongue, with the holy spells, with the speech, with the deeds, with the libations, and with the rightly spoken words. 46. He begged of her a boon, saying, Grant me this, O great Asha Banguhe, that I may bring the good and noble Hutaasa, to think according to the law, to speak according to the law, to do according to the law, that she may spread my law and make it known, that she may bestow beautiful praises upon my deeds. 47. The great Asha Vangohe ran and came to his side. The holy Zarathustra obtained that boon. For her brightness and glory I will offer her a sacrifice worth being heard. And so on. Part 9 is 48 through 52. We sacrifice to Asha Vangohe, who is shining high and powerful. And as I'm saying, there's people who treat these entities as intercessors with the divine. There's others who don't. So there's more ambiguity in Persian languages than some languages. So, but a lot of it's just the Orientalist thinking that they don't understand how to, they're not used to working this sort of system as Christians. So, 49. To her did the tall Kaba Vistaspa offer up a sacrifice behind the waters of the river Da'itya. 50. He begged of her a boon, saying, Grant me this, O great Asha Bangohe, that I may put to flight Asta Urvant, the son of Vispo the Urvo Aste, the all-afflicting of the brazen helmet, of the brazen armor, of the thick neck, behind whom 700 camels, that I may put to flight the Havyana murderer, Aragat Aspa, that I may put to flight Darsinika, the worshipper of the Da'avas, 51, and that I may smite Thlathravant of the bad law, that I may smite Spin Uruska, the worshipper of the Da'avas, that I may bring unto the good law the nations of the Meredakas and of the Havyanas, and that I may smite of the Havyana nations, their 50s and their 100s, their 100s and their 1000s, their 1000s and their 10s of thousands, and their 10s of thousands, and their myriads of myriads. 52. The great Asha Vangohe ran and came to his side. The tall Kava Vistaspa obtained that boon. For her brightness and glory I will offer her a sacrifice worth being heard. And so those that we are going to outwardly act against, other than just, condemning what's wrong, we're not just because they're having a different system of judgment, a different way of doing their rituals or something. This, there's more to it than that. But we're going, as you can tell, a lot of these things are summaries of a lot of mythological material. Ten is 53 to 62. 53 was sacrificed to Asha Vangohe, who was shining high and powerful. 54. And the great Asha Vangohe said, "None of those libations will be accepted by me which are sent to me either by a man whose seed is dried out, or by the courtesan who produces untimely issues, or by young boys or girls who have not known man." Have known no man. Well, you would hope that children haven't engaged in that stuff, because nobody should be doing that to pre-adolescents. But when the Turanians and the swift-horsed Ataras, clapping their hands, ran after me, 55, I hid myself under foot of a bull walking under his burden. Then young boys and girls who had known no man discovered me, even while the Turanians and the swift-horsed Ataras, clapping their hands, were running after me, 56. Even I hid myself under the throat of a ram with 100-fold energy. Then again young boys and girls who had known no man discovered me, even when the Turanians and the swift horse, Ataras, clapping their hands, were running after me, 57. The first wailing of the great Asha Vangohe is her wailing about the courtesan who destroys her fruit. Stand thou not near her. Sit thou not on her bed. What shall I do? Shall I go back to the heavens? Shall I sink into the earth? The second wailing of the great Asha Ben Gohe is her wailing about the courtesan who brings forth a child conceived of a stranger and presents it to her husband. What shall I do? Shall I go back to the heavens? Shall I sink into the earth? 59. This is the third wailing of the great Asha Ben Gohe. This is the worst deed that men and tyrants do, namely, when they deprive maids that have been barren for a long time of marrying and bringing forth children. What shall I do? Shall I go back to the heavens? Shall I sink into the earth? Now, of course, the marriage bit is, it's not just how they're treating the females, but how they're treating the males. Or 60. Ahura Mazda answered, O fair and wise Asha, go not back to the heavens, sink not into the earth, stay here and walk inside the fine kingly palace. 61. I shall worship thee with such a sacrifice, I shall worship and forward thee with such a sacrifice as Vistaspa offered unto thee behind the river Da'itya. The Za'atar lifted up a loud voice, with Barisma before him. With that sort of sacrifice shall I worship thee. With that sort of sacrifice shall I worship and forward thee, O fair and wise Asha. For her brightness and glory I will offer her a sacrifice worth being heard, and so on. 62. Yata ahu va'erio, the will of the Lord is the law of holiness, and so on. I bless the sacrifice and prayer and the strength and vigor of Asha Vangohe, of the good Kiste, of the good Arethe, of the good Rasastat, of the glory and wheel made by Mazda, Asham Vahu, holiness is the best of all good, and so on. Give unto that man brightness and glory, give him health of body, give him the bright, all-happy, blissful abode of the holy ones. And remember, these sorts of things, at least what they're representing, if not in themselves, they're not just scriptures to go over and read and recite and all that sort of stuff. They're not just rituals. They're meant to be towards life. Some of that's what we call politics. Some of that's what we call the rest of social behavior. Some of that's business. Continuing the comment of the Farvardin Yast, we have in verse 121, the son of Uspasnu, being referred to here as the high priest of the Vidadafshu Karshvara, a Ivriz Rasp, a Us Pos In An, and Holy Hvaspa is probably the same with Huvasp, the high priest in the Uru Bareste Karshvara. And we might have the same as the high priest, Kath Waraspa in verse 122 might be the same as the high priest in the Uru Gareste Karshvara. Kak Ravak. Kak Ravak is the general name of the bird Karshipta. It must stand here by mistake for Kaharasp. And in verse 123, the son of Tura might be seen as the Turanian. And there's the Fravacious. In the text is Fravash-e, so it's not in the plural. And we have another couple examples of the Fravash-e instead of Fravacious. And there's a difference between Gamaspa, the younger, and Gamaspa, the son of Havova. And Ma'edyo Ma'unga, the son of Araste, is not the same as the holy Ma'edyo Ma'unga, the younger, and Urvatat Nara, the younger, is different from Urvatat Nara, the son of Zarathustra. The 6 foremost helpers of Saoshyant, each in one of the 6 Karshvaras, is said that in the 57 years, which are the period from the raising of the dead, Roshano Kashem in Arza, Kur Kashem in Sava, Fradad Gadman, or Fradat Havareno, increase of glory in Fradatafsh, Ravadad Gadman, or Ravadat Havareno, multiplier of glory in Vidad Afsh. It's interesting that 57 is half the numbers of the Suar in the Quran. I don't have time to finish that.